Have you ever noticed how the people who seem the most in control are the ones who don't react? The ones who, no matter what's thrown at them, don't flinch, don't break, don't let the world see them sweat? Now, let me ask you this. What if I told you that you could become one of those people? That you could walk through life untouchable, unshaken, unstoppable? We live in a world where emotions run high, where people are waiting for you to break, waiting for a reaction, waiting to control you through your own emotions. But what if you refused to give them that satisfaction? What if no matter what happens, you acted as if nothing affects you? Today, I'm going to show you why mastering this mindset is the key to power, confidence, and ultimate control over your own life. Because the moment you stop reacting is the moment you start winning. Be easy. Imagine this. You're in a heated argument, emotions flaring, voices rising. The person in front of you is trying to push your buttons, hoping for a reaction. And for a split second you feel it, the urge to lash out, to prove a point, to defend yourself. But what if, instead, you just smiled? What if, instead of letting your emotions take over, you remained calm, steady, and completely in control? That's the difference between someone who is ruled by their emotions and someone who owns them. See, most people think strength is about reacting, about showing up with force and proving you're not to be messed with. But real strength, real power, it comes from the ability to stay composed when everything around you is trying to shake you. Mastering emotional control is not about ignoring your feelings. It's about choosing how and when to express them. It's about deciding that no one, not your boss, not your partner, not a stranger on the internet, gets to dictate how you feel. Because the second you let someone else's words, actions, or opinions control your emotions, you hand them power over you. And that's a power they don't deserve. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I can't how I feel. If someone disrespects me, if someone hurts me, I have to react, and I get it. We're wired to respond to threats to protect ourselves. But let me ask you this. Does reacting emotionally ever put you in a position of power? Does snapping back in anger ever make you feel stronger? Or does it just make you feel like you've lost control? The truth is, when you act as if nothing affects you, you become untouchable. People can throw their worst at you, and it won't shake your foundation. They'll try to get under your skin, but when you don't react, they're left powerless. It's like a fire that has no oxygen. It burns out. Think about the people you admire, the ones who command respect the moment they walk into a room. Are they the ones who lose their temper over small things? Are they the ones who let every little comment get to them? No. They are the ones who remain poised, who choose their battles wisely, who refuse to let temporary emotions dictate permanent actions. And that's what it comes down to. Choice. You can choose to let your emotions control you, or you can choose to control them. You can choose to react, or you can choose to observe, assess, and respond only when it serves you. Because the more you practice this, the more you'll realize something. Most things don't even deserve a reaction. Someone insults you. That's a reflection of them, not you. Someone tries to provoke you. That's their insecurity showing, not yours. Someone doubts you. Let them. It doesn't change your worth. It doesn't change your abilities. And it certainly doesn't change your path. The only thing that changes is whether or not you give them the satisfaction of seeing you affected. And let's be clear. Acting unaffected doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It means processing them in a way that serves you. It means understanding that your emotions are yours and yours alone, and no one else should have the power to dictate them. You can feel anger without acting on it. You can feel hurt without showing it to the person who wants to see you break. That's control. That's power. When you master this, your entire presence changes. People will notice that you're not easily swayed, that you don't rise to the bait, that you move through life with a sense of quiet confidence that's unshakable. And suddenly the things that used to bother you, they lose their grip on you. The opinions that once made you question yourself, they start to sound meaningless. The situations that once triggered you, they become nothing more than background noise. Because when you act as if nothing affects you, eventually, nothing truly does. Confidence isn't about always knowing the right answer, never making mistakes, or having everything figured out. It's not something you're born with, and it's not reserved for a select few. Confidence is a mindset. It's a choice. And the people who seem to have it, the ones who walk into a room and immediately command attention. They don't have some secret gift you don't. They've just learned how to act like They belong no matter where they are. Most people think confidence comes from external validation, having people tell you that you're good enough, that you're attractive enough, that you're successful enough. But if your confidence is built on what other people think, it's fragile. The moment someone criticizes you, it crumbles. The moment you don't get the recognition you were hoping for, it disappears. That's not real confidence. That's borrowed confidence. And anything that's borrowed can be taken away. Real confidence comes from deciding, before anyone else does, that you are worthy. It comes from walking into every situation as if you belong there. Not waiting for permission, not waiting for someone to approve of you, but carrying yourself as if you already know your value. Because here's the truth, people believe what you project. If you walk in unsure, hesitant, looking for reassurance, people will pick up on that uncertainty. But if you carry yourself with certainty, even if you don't feel it at first, people will respond to that. And this is where people get stuck. They think, well, I don't feel confident, so I can't act confident. But that's backwards. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, and the fastest way to build it, act as if you already have it. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who on paper wasn't the most traditionally attractive, the most qualified, the most experienced, but somehow they carried themselves like they were? And because of that, people were drawn to them. That's the power of perceived confidence. When you believe in yourself, other people believe in you too. Now, let's talk about why this is so important. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. If you hesitate, the world will hesitate to take you seriously. But the second you decide, I am good enough, I deserve to be here, I have something valuable to offer, everything changes. The way you speak changes. The way you walk changes. The way people respond to you changes. This doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt again. Confidence isn't the absence of self-doubt. It's the refusal to let it control you. It's recognizing that even the most successful, charismatic people in the world have moments of insecurity. The only difference is that they don't let those moments define them. They don't wait until they feel confident to take action. They take action, and that's what builds confidence. You can start small. Next time you walk into a room, straighten your posture, make eye contact, and slow down your movements. Next time you speak, don't rush through your words as if you're apologizing for taking up space. And when doubt creeps in, instead of saying, what if I'm not good enough? Say, what if I am? Because confidence isn't about never questioning yourself. It's about choosing to back yourself every time those questions arise. And here's the best part. When you start acting as if you are confident, it stops being an act. It becomes real. Because the more you prove to yourself that you can handle situations with ease, the more you believe it. And when that belief takes root, nothing can shake it. So from this moment forward, stop waiting for permission to feel confident. Stop waiting for someone to tell you you're enough. Decide it for yourself. Carry yourself like someone who already knows their worth, and the world will have no choice but to believe it, too. Most people don't realize how much power they give away every single day. They let a rude comment ruin their mood. They let someone's disapproval make them question themselves. They let a small inconvenience dictate the entire course of their day. And the worst part, they don't even realize they're doing it. The moment you allow someone to control your emotions, you hand them power over you. You're telling them, what you say and do dictates how I feel. And once they know they have that kind of control, they will use it. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes without even realizing it. It's human nature. If someone sees that a certain action triggers you, they know exactly how to push your buttons. But if you stop reacting, if you stop giving them that satisfaction, they lose that power. This is why acting as if nothing affects you is so important. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about choosing where to invest them. Not everyone and everything deserves access to your emotional energy. Not everyone deserves a reaction. And the more you realize this, the more in control you become. Think about the last time someone annoyed you. Maybe they criticized you. Maybe they tried to embarrass you in front of others. Maybe they ignored you when you expected a certain response. What did you do? Did you react instantly? Did you try to prove yourself? Did you let it stay in your head for hours afterward? That's what giving away power looks like. But now, imagine if, in that moment, you simply let it roll off your back. You didn't flinch, you didn't justify yourself, you didn't give them the reaction they were hoping for. What happens then? They're left with nothing. And more importantly, you walk away unbothered, in control, and still fully in charge of your own state of mind. People respect those who don't get easily rattled. They respect those who carry themselves with an air of I know who I am, and nothing you say or do will change that. And ironically, the more unbothered you appear, the more others start to value your energy. They start to wonder why you don't react the way most people do. They start to see you as someone who operates at a higher level. Now, let's be real, this doesn't mean you'll never feel annoyed, hurt, or frustrated. You will. But the difference is, instead of showing it immediately and letting someone else dictate your emotions, you pause. You observe, you ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Because most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, the people trying to get a reaction from you are doing it because of their own insecurities, their own need for validation, their own attempt to feel significant by making you feel small. But if you refuse to play that game, they have no choice but to find another target. Detachment is power. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care selectively. You choose when to engage and when to let things slide. And when you start doing this, you'll notice something incredible. People will start treating you differently. They'll approach you with more respect. They'll hesitate before trying to push your buttons. They'll sense that you're not someone who is easily controlled. And the truth is, you aren't. You never were. You've just been conditioned to believe that every comment, every criticism, every little thing requires a response. It doesn't. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Because when you act as if nothing affects you, eventually, nothing truly does. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion matters. Not every situation requires your energy. But most people go through life acting as if it does. They absorb every criticism, internalize every rejection, and stress over things that, in the grand scheme of life, won't even matter a year from now. Sometimes not even a week from now. And yet, they give it all their time, all their energy, all their emotions. That's a losing game. Detachment is power. It's the ability to step back and see things for what they are, rather than what your emotions are making them feel like in the moment. It's recognizing that most things in life are just noise, background distractions trying to pull you into unnecessary drama, unnecessary stress, unnecessary battles. And the people who truly have control over themselves, they don't waste time on things that don't serve them. They focus on what matters, and they let the rest go. Most people hear the word detachment and assume it means not caring at all. That's not what this is about. It's about caring selectively. It's about choosing where to place your energy instead of spreading yourself so thin that you end up exhausted and resentful. When you're overly attached to every outcome, every interaction, every opinion, you become reactive. You start living at the mercy of external forces. If someone approves of you, you're happy. If they don't, you're upset. If things go your way, you feel good. If they don't, you feel like a failure. That's a dangerous place to be because it means your sense of peace is always dependent on something outside of you. But when you learn to detach, you stop being controlled by these things. You stop needing validation from people who don't even know you. You stop stressing over things you can't control. You stop giving energy to situations that don't align with your priorities. You learn to observe without immediately reacting. You learn to let go of things that aren't worth your time. And the moment you do that, life becomes so much lighter. You start moving through the world differently, calmer, more confident, more in control. Think about the last time something really upset you. Maybe someone ignored your message and you started overanalyzing what it meant. Maybe someone made a comment that got under your skin and you couldn't stop thinking about it. Maybe a situation didn't go the way you wanted and it completely ruined your mood. Now ask yourself, did stressing over it change anything? Did it make the person respond? Did it erase the comment? Did it fix the situation? Or did it just steal your peace while the other person went on with their life completely unaffected? That's the trap of attachment. It makes you cling to things that aren't even serving you. And the irony is, the moment you detach, the moment you stop chasing people, stop overanalyzing, stop trying to control everything, things start to work in your favor. People are drawn to those who are secure in themselves. Opportunities come easier when you're not desperately trying to force them. You start to radiate a different kind of energy, the kind that says, I'm good whether this works out or not. And that energy, that's magnetic. The key is to remind yourself again and again that not everything requires a reaction. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply let go and move forward. Because when you act as if nothing affects you, eventually, nothing truly does. Confidence isn't something you're given. It's something you create. And the way you create it is by acting as if you already have it before you actually do. Most people wait. They think, I'll be confident once I have proof that I should be, or I'll stop caring what people think once I'm successful enough, attractive enough, experienced enough. But that's backwards. Confidence doesn't come after success. Success comes after confidence. The people who win in life are the ones who act first, who move as if they already belong in the rooms they want to be in, even before they have external validation telling them they should. The fastest way to build confidence is to fake it. And this isn't about being inauthentic. It's about conditioning yourself to believe in your own abilities. When you act as if you're already confident, you start proving to yourself, moment by moment, that you can handle whatever comes your way. And once you see that proof enough times, it stops being an act. It becomes real. That's how every confident person you've ever met got there. They weren't born with it. They built it by continuously showing up as the version of themselves they wanted to be, even before they fully felt like that person. Think about the moments in your life when you've hesitated, when you wanted to speak up but held back, when you wanted to take a risk but talked yourself out of it, when you let fear dictate your decisions. Every single time you hesitate, you reinforce the idea that you're not ready. But what if instead you just went for it? What if instead of waiting to feel ready, you just acted as if you already were? Imagine the version of you who is completely confident. How would they walk into a room? How would they handle a challenge? How would they carry themselves in a conversation? How would they carry themselves? The more you start behaving like that version of yourself, the faster you become them. And here's what happens when you start carrying yourself differently. People start seeing you differently. The world responds to the way you present yourself. If you walk into a room acting like you don't belong there, people will assume you don't. But if you walk in with quiet confidence, as if you have nothing to prove, people will believe it. Because confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about forcing people to notice you. It's about having the kind of energy that makes people take you seriously without you having to say a word. This doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt again. It doesn't mean you won't have moments where that little voice in your head tries to tell you you're not good enough. But the difference between people who succeed and people who don't isn't the absence of self-doubt. It's the ability to move forward anyway. Confident people don't wait to feel completely fearless before they take action. They understand that fear and doubt are just noise, background chatter that can be ignored. They act as if they already are who they want to be, and in doing so, they become that person. The best part? Once you start doing this, you realize just how much time you've wasted worrying about things that never actually mattered. You stop overthinking every move. You stop waiting for external permission to go after what you want. You stop playing small, far. And suddenly the things that used to intimidate you, they become second nature. The situations that once made you nervous, they start to feel effortless. And that's when you know you've won. Because when you act as if nothing affects you, eventually nothing truly does. People spend so much time trying to explain themselves, trying to convince others of their worth, trying to prove something. They argue, they justify, they defend. But here's the truth. Words don't carry nearly as much weight as actions. You can say you're confident, but if your actions don't reflect that, no one will believe you. You can say that you're strong, that you don't care what people think, that you're in control of your emotions, but if you react every time someone tests you, if you let small things shake you, your words mean nothing. Real power is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't beg for attention, act for attention. It simply exists, undeniable and unshaken, and the people who truly have it, they don't waste their energy trying to convince others. They don't waste time explaining themselves to people who have already made up their minds. They don't engage in meaningless battles just to prove a point. They let their actions speak for them. When you act as if nothing affects you, you shift the entire dynamic of how people treat you. They sense that you are not easily influenced. They see that you are not desperate for validation. And suddenly, They start to respect you in a way they didn't before. Because most people are predictable. They react, they defend, they seek approval. But the moment you stop playing that game, the moment you carry yourself like someone who already knows their worth, you stand out. You become someone people take seriously, someone they want to understand, someone they respect without needing to be convinced. And the best way to communicate this? Through results. You don't need to argue with people who doubt you, just succeed in silence and let them watch. You don't need to chase people who undervalue you, just move forward and let them realize what they lost. You don't need to respond to every insult, every piece of criticism, every attempt to bring you down. Let your growth be your response. Let your composure be your proof. Let your ability to stay focused, to keep moving, to keep building, be the loudest statement you ever make. There is nothing more powerful than someone who doesn't break under pressure. Someone who doesn't flinch when challenged. Someone who knows exactly who they are and refuses to be shaken by the noise around them. That kind of presence is rare. That kind of control is rare. But the moment you embody it, everything changes. You stop feeling the need to react to things that don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't worth your time. You stop engaging in anything that doesn't move you forward. Because at the end of the day, words fade, arguments are forgotten, justifications don't leave an impact. But actions stay. Actions prove everything. And when you act as if nothing affects you, eventually nothing truly does.